Hello, this is Michael Altos. We're continuing our discussion of neurophysiology. This is recording part 5. This is just a short section to start by discussing coma, which is unconsciousness due to structural lesions like tumor or stroke, abscess or bleeding. It can also be due to a diffuse disorder like hypothermia, hypoglycemia, hepatic or uremic encephalopathy, a post-ictal state following seizures or encephalitis or drug effects. Coma can be due to a wide variety of causes. Usually it involves the areas of consciousness, which could be the pons, the midbrain, or the cerebral hemispheres. We have a Glasgow Coma Scale, which is used to assess the severity of coma. It has 3 categories: eyes, verbal, and motor response. The eyes have a score of 1 to 4, verbal 1 to 5, and motor 1 to 6. So the maximum score is 15 and the minimum score is 3. Sometimes people will just say a patient has a GCS of 13. Frequently they will break it down and say it's a GCS of 4E, 4V, and 4, or let's say 5M. If patients are intubated, sometimes they will leave out the verbal response and just put a notation that the patient is unable to give a verbal response. Patients who are in coma may have changes in their breathing patterns. Ataxic breathing is unpredictable and varies. Apneustic breathing has gaps and pauses during full inspiration. Cheyne-Stokes breathing is a cyclic crescendo and decrescendo of tidal volume patterns. And central hyperventilation is just rapid breathing. And each of these localizes to a different part of the brain that could be injured. Other findings in coma patients may include injury to the cortex leading to small pupils that are reactive to light, and purposeful or flexor muscle movement. Injury to the midbrain would show mid-sized pupils that are unreactive to light and more of an extensor movement, what we call posturing. And injury to the pons or medulla would show mid-sized pupils that are unreactive to light and no muscle response at all. Again, these can help determine the severity and the localization of an injury. A seizure is abnormal synchronized electrical brain activity. It can be due to underlying disease or injury, or it can just be idiopathic. Focal or partial seizures occur in a very specific part of the brain. They can be motor or sensory or autonomic or psychiatric symptoms. Complex partial seizures may affect consciousness as well. And sometimes these seizures progress to a generalized seizure. Generalized seizures are bilaterally symmetric electrical activity in the brain with no local onset. They come in 2 general categories. Absence seizures are transient lapses in consciousness. It looks like the patient is just spacing out. They used to be called petit mal seizures. And the other is tonic-clonic seizures, also formerly called grand mal seizures. These usually last 1 to 3 minutes and include loss of consciousness. And they're called tonic-clonic because first the patient has tonic motor activity, where all of their skeletal muscles tense. In fact, the tension can be so much that it pushes air past the vocal cords and causes a groan or a cry. This lasts for a few seconds, and then comes the clonic motor activity, where muscles contract and relax rapidly and rhythmically at a rate of about 1 to 3 beats per second. The eyes roll back in the head. The patients often lose continence. When the seizure ends, patients go into what's called a post-ictal phase, where they are sleepy, confused, and don't remember the seizure. Status epilepticus is when a seizure persists for more than 10 minutes. And this is a medical emergency because of the damage to the brain and the very high cerebral metabolic requirements caused by a seizure. That's it for this brief section. Again, please let me know if you have any questions.